Okay, good. So today I wanted to read some poem, like a poem or a lecture from one of my masters. And this was his explanation about Taoist practice and as a beginner. This is, again, I'll keep talking about this, but really there are these two paths of practice, and one path is technical based, or has technique, and this even people might call Taoist practice or Taoist Qigong, these kinds of terms. And then there's what is often referred to as the Immortals path, or the Immortals practice, or the way of the Immortals. And in this approach to practice, like we will keep talking about, is based on heart purification, naturalness, and also non-doing. This is a Wu Wei. And so I'll read one of my teachers. He gave this lecture, and he's a really great master. And we were in the White Cloud Temple at night, and my elder practicing brother, Taoist brother, had prepared some stone carvings for the master, and we went very late at night to the temple. And so it was very, very dark, and candles, and very quiet, and very mystical. And he asked me about how my practice was and what I was practicing. And then he suddenly stood up and gave this kind of a very powerful speech. And so I'll read, and later after the talk, I really remembered what he said, and I wrote down what was said. Okay, so he began, "There was complete nothingness, yet in that nothingness was everything. Return to the place that existed before your birth and death. These clothes you are wearing are after heaven. This body is after heaven. Everything you see in this material realm is after heaven. In the practice of Taoist meditation, we want to reside in the before heaven state. Reside in our original nature. Return to our original nature. As a fetus in the mother's womb, we thought of absolutely nothing. There was not even a you to think. There was complete nothingness, but in that nothingness was everything. If you think you know something, you know nothing. If you think you are feeling something, you are feeling nothing. If you think you are doing something, you are doing nothing. Clear your mind. Let nothing occupy your mind. Do not think of anything. There is not even a you to think anything. If you think you know something, you know nothing. Completely forget everything, and the journey has finally begun." And so this was a wonderful transmission, and a very passionate teaching in a very sacred place for Taoists. We were in White Cloud Temple. It's in the center of Beijing, and this is kind of the seat or the root of the Northern Complete Perfection tradition. And it's a very important place, and this is a very reoccurring theme in Taoist practice, this idea of before heaven and after heaven, or we can say before birth, after birth, or we could also say congenital or innate and acquired. Okay, this kind of differentiation. And this is that we have an original nature, an original mind, an original heart. We can think like this. Then we also have acquired nature or false nature, or acquired mind or false mind. And in the practice of meditation, we want to reach a unification state, a stillness point, where we're able to reside and rest in this original nature. Okay, and this type of approach is what we find in what we can call the immortal tradition, the immortal school. And it's really important to differentiate this type of an approach to the practice versus what we see in many books, or these things which are very active with doing mental visualizations or trying to mentally control energy. And my teacher explained that anytime if we're actually observing something and thinking about something, or even if we're doing a kind of active visualization, this is in the realm of our thinking mind. And so through our concentration practice, which is if you look at what I'm teaching you and what we're entering into, is we're learning to concentrate and focus. And in the beginning, this concentration is in a single area, which is our Dantian center below the navel. And if we're able to progress steadily and slowly, this concentration becomes single pointed. And the movements of thoughts and the activity of the thinking mind begins to be quiet and quiet and quiet, eventually becomes very, very still. And this is important. If we practice enough, we can reach this quality and this condition of stillness. And that is really when we start to have this unification and this ability of a single-pointed, natural single-pointed concentration. Then stillness will arise. And stillness we can classify as something which is like extreme yin. But we know from when we study the law of yin and yang that extreme yin will actually give birth to yang. So out of this stillness that we cultivate within our Dantian, the stillness gives birth to an inner energy. Okay, the yin gives birth to yang. Okay, and so that's just a little talk, and this idea of original nature and acquired nature. And this is an important thing to understand, is that we want to trace our footsteps backwards. We start to go in a reverse direction to go back to the very beginning. And we return to our innate nature, our original nature. Okay, and this is a part of the path of cultivation. And in the beginning, we talk about this idea of preparation work. Okay, and so preparation work can be rejuvenating the physical body, removing any disease or imbalance in the physical body, opening up the energy meridians, opening up the tendons and the joints, purifying the body through diet and lifestyle, and also daily practice. And these aspects are part of what we can call preparation work or beginning practice or foundation practice. And that's really important. When we start to gain this ability of single-pointed concentration and we follow the method, we'll learn more about the specifics of the practice method as we progress. We're seeking to cultivate what is often termed medicine. This is in Chinese Yao, okay, medicine. And this is a common alchemical term we find in many of the classics and in the teachings. Okay, and basically three types or classifications of this medicine that we cultivate. And in reference to that, if we even look at this word Dantian, we use this word and we say energy center like that. But if we really look at the meaning of the word Dantian, Dan means actually immortal medicine, or the medicine of eternal life. This is the meaning of that word. Okay, and Tian means a place of cultivation, or a place to grow, or to a place of growth. Okay, and so when we look at the meaning of those two characters, Dan, Tian, this meaning of this energy center is the field or the place where we may develop and cultivate the medicine of immortality, or the medicine of eternal life, or inner medicine like this. Okay, and so this is this kind of idea. And when we look at this medicine, when we become a little more versed in the theories, generally we have three types of medicine. This is called the external medicine, the internal medicines, and the supreme medicine, or the great medicine. Okay, and these are actually three stages of practice development that we move through. The first stage would be the gathering of the external medicine, and depending which school or which method you follow, even the idea of external medicine can be different in a different school or approach. And we practice more of the way of reversal and the immortal tradition. And in this tradition, the external medicine means external energy, which is a universal energy. And so this is a quality of the energy that we can start to map out by studying of time and the movement of the seasons and these types of things. We can start to map out when this external medicine is prevalent and present, and we begin to cultivate. So for example, it's often talked about at the time of 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., this is when this external medicine, or this external energy, starts to give birth from the movement of the sun, the moon, and the movement of the stars and the universe. This has a cycle and the movement and a flow. And at this time period is when this energy is first given birth. So for some people who practice seriously, they'll also meditate at 11 p.m. at night. And generally you face the east direction with the front of the body. You align to the easterly direction. And the easterly direction is where this energy also is arising from, if we orient ourselves to the cardinal directions. Okay, and so this is some basic ideas from the practice of inner alchemy. As we learn more together, it's a lot of theory and a very scientific and systematic approach to practice. Okay, and the practice has different stages of development. But really, if we look at in the beginning, it's very important we work with our physical body. We transform the physical body. And changing the physical body also begins to transform and change our emotional disposition, and our habitual emotional reactions start to change when we change the condition of the physical body, because this is also affecting our organs. Okay, so that's a very important first stage. The other important first stage that we begin to approach to is developing the ability of concentration. Okay, And concentration in Chinese is called the yi. And there's ordinary concentration, yi. Then Taoists talk about zhen yi, which means a true concentration or true intention. And this is like a purified mind intention. It's a very, very pure and almost a kind of natural quality. And this is for Taoist practice, we want to have this kind of true intention or pure mind will intention. This not just the ordinary intention. Yeah, and all of these things in the beginning you don't have experience, and it sounds strange or mystical. But you practice, it becomes very ordinary and very, very simple. And you understand all of these things very clearly. And it's really one, you have to have a teacher who understands the theory and the tradition and the practices, but also the teacher has to have their own personal experience of moving through the stages. And then they can clearly share their experience and give guidance. And that's a very important basic. And then you have to spend time with the practices. And over time, it becomes very clear, all of these theories, because you yourself start to have some experiences. Okay. So today we'll continue practicing, and we'll do some of the elemental warm-ups. And today I wanted to do a little freestyle. A lot of my teachers in different classes, they would do very spontaneous movements or spontaneous stretching in practice. So sometimes I also like to do that. Today we'll a little emphasize some fire elemental movements. I've introduced some fire elemental movements already, like the coiling dragon stretch. But I'm going to introduce, there's so many different movements. We'll introduce a few other fire elemental movements, and we'll do a little bit of metal element, little earth element, just loosen up our body. And then we'll continue meditating and going over some of the hand postures, okay? And slowly I'll explain more details about these hand postures and how to use them, how to train in them. The hand postures are, one, from a simple point of view, they're a part of a mental discipline. You hold these hand postures for longer and longer periods of time, and it takes a discipline and a concentration and a perseverance to hold these postures in stillness. So it's really one part of tempering the heart and training the mind to hold these postures. The other aspect is the postures are related to meridian lines. And so the postures will begin to open the meridians in the body. The postures are also divided into three types. We have a stillness postures, the extended or active postures, and we have the balanced or the middle postures, okay? And these will have a different effect to our chi energy, okay? And so as you change between these hand postures, this begins to stimulate the chi energies, and it starts to take the chi energy through a training and also through a density change. And the density of your energies begins to change. And this is a really important to learn how to do that. And then if you want to make development in this practice, to actively practice that, and you learn to increase the density of your chi energy and to cultivate the chi energies. Okay, so just a little, we'll get into more theory. Alchemy is a very, very deep subject, and I was really lucky. My teachers passed on quite a lot of teaching about this subject. And it's very confusing because many different schools and different approaches to how to practice, but all these schools maybe say that they're doing alchemy practice, but really the method can seem different. or the approach can seem different. And so I simply can teach what was taught to me, and that's it. It might be different from some things you read in a book or like that, but for me, the basis of all of this is, one, if something has a tradition, and we can trace the practice back to some traditional roots, is important. The other is more important to me is if we can gain results, if we can actually gain some development from the practice, and that's important. Okay, so we'll begin practice today. So let's begin first, and let's just a little warm up the inside of your leg, massaging down to the feet. So generally, when we practice, the legs will be one of the big barriers that we start to experience, because really we want to reach the ability. We can practice for 90 minutes or 2 hours, but if the legs are not really in a proper condition, you have a lot of leg pain. The important thing my teacher said right in the beginning is any leg pain is giving you a sign that the leg meridians are closed and blocked. And so then that's also a part of perseverance in practice, that you practice long enough to where you actually open up the meridians in the legs. So we can little stretch and loosen up your hip. Now, the inside, hand to the knee, stretching out the leg very gently, warming up your legs. Okay, good. Our other leg. Okay, now place the hand to the knee. Okay, good. Warming up again. Now we'll practice a coiling dragon. So like we taught in the last few classes, this can be done in a simple way like this. You can draw the leg up like this for a more active stretch. And we'll begin in the embracing yin-yang posture. And you want to take some very gentle breaths to your abdomen, to the Dantian. And centering. Inhale and exhale. Breathing in and breathing out. Take a few breaths to the Dantian center, centering, nurture your energies. Lower the hands. And we'll come back to the center, warming up your legs. Okay, good. Now let's change sides. Okay, and so again, you can practice with the foot down. You just make sure you have a channel, a little space between your heel and the knee, okay, for the stretching. And if you want more active, you can place up like this. Okay. Just make sure you have this slight channel. between your knee and the foot. Gather the hands, embracing yin yang posture. Take a centering breath to your Dantian. Breathing in, breathing out, nurture your inner energies. Inhale and exhale, pushing out, coming up, pushing out. Inhale as you come up, exhale as you come down. Okay, good. Come back to center, nurturing your breath. And slowly lower the hands down. Okay, good. Now let's gently take a natural cross-legged position, aligning your two heels, the midline of the body. So we'll continue with a few other fire element meridian stretching movements. This kind of seated practice is usually called TaoYin in Chinese, or sometimes the TaoYin Shu. Shu means art or method. And TaoYin is a means to the art of guiding and leading energy. And it's a very ancient and is from the Taoist school and is before these methods developed, before Buddhism was introduced to China. So they don't have this idea of visualization or leading energy with the use of mind, which is really generally was influenced from Buddhism. Buddhism came into China. And so these are very shamanic movements, generally based on animals or animal spirits or mythical creatures. And that through the use of the empty mind and empty heart and the rhythmic breathing and rhythmic stretching movements, that the chi energies will be guided and led through the body. This is generally called Taoyin. Traditionally, almost any movement art would have been called a Taoyin, and something like a Qigong is generally would be a stillness posture where you're focusing on qi in the body. But now in the West, a lot of different movement arts are taught and called Qigong. But for many traditionalists who study, really, when we do different types of movements, a lot of times, especially if they involve a stretching of the tendon, and this is classified as Taoyin. The most ancient types of Taoyin are generally performed seated, okay, like what we're doing. Okay, so we'll continue some fire element movements. Okay, and we think about the heart meridian runs along the inside of the line up here into the heart organ, and fire element, in the five elemental kinesiology, and this is the quality of expansion, contraction, or we can think opening and closing. Okay, something that really like opens and closes, and this kind of a quality in the movement. Okay, so we begin, embrace yin and yang. Inhale and exhale. Okay, and so really feel this stretching here, and especially along the inside line where your pinkies are. Come back, inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Okay, now come back to center. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in and breathing out. Now breathing in, circle, and breathing out, stretch. Relax, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Now come back to center, breathing in and breathing out, nurturing your energies in the Dantian center. Now lower the hands down, settling. Now we'll raise the hands up. Now inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. In. Exhale. Inhale. Really push, stretch, and relaxing back. Inhale, push, stretch, relax. Inhale and exhale. Take a few deep breaths, breathing in. Now let's inhale, rising up. Exhale, open. Feel the stretching on the inside of the arm. And coming down. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. Okay, now we'll practice the earth element movement. So earth element, the kinesiology, is a horizontal motion coiling to the center. And so center means our center point of gravity, our core, or the center point of our Dantian. So feel the horizontal movement, feel the stretching. Okay, so here we're really stretching up, stretching out. Okay, stretching all along also the meridian lines of the stomach, which run along the front of the body, really pulling those meridian lines. Here you can inhale. This would be your inhale. You reach a full breath. Then here you slightly close, and this closing motion is the exhale. Now inhale, exhale, coming down. And let's gather our hands and sit in stillness for a few moments, settling to your Dantian center below the navel, allowing your mind to focus to this place, allowing your mind to return and gather to this place with naturalness, with effortlessness. Allow the breath to follow the mind, and the breath and mind meet in the Dantian center and undergo a combination. Inhale, breathing in deeply and gently. And exhale, breathing out. Slowly return awareness to your body, focusing your lower Dantian center. Let all things settling down, gather. Let's just separate your hands and massaging the knee. Cool down, nurturing the knees. Now let's begin circling. As you circle, just have a sense everything is spiraling, descending down, gathering, storing in your Dantian. Opposite direction. Okay, rub your lower back. And first, we gently massage the inside of your legs. And then we can massage around the knees. And we'll turn circles, the legs. Good. Loosening and circling. Now we're gonna gently knock your toes together. You wanna warm up the legs before we move around. Okay, good. So that was just a little exploration into some preparation and movements, which will help us to open up the body, open up energy flow, open up the meridians. Okay? And really the movements are also part of the mind training. We begin learning a concentration and how to focus the mind. Also helps to begin create the unification and union of mind and the body. Okay? This type of thing. And so even though we can teach many different types of movements within the elemental range, so many different types of elemental movements. Yeah. And sometimes you learn some vocabulary of these movements, then also can help as you age. You need some body maintenance, or you practice a little strongly. Maybe something feels blocked. You have some different tools to really facilitate opening of different parts of the body. These areas of the neck, they have a kind of energy centers, which are called the window of the sky centers, or window of the sky points. And so this is a one area that connects to the energies of the sky. And the neck is also like the bridge between the head and the torso, or the head and the body. The neck is this really important area, and a lot of times over time it becomes very stuck, and we get a lot of tension and blockages in the neck. So that's we need to really mindfully open up that area of the body.